because the train of bad news in the gaming industry just never stops. And since Sony decided to take the entirety of the hate of the internet a few days ago, Xbox probably thought, okay, let's do the restructuring right now when they're distracted. A few days ago, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma released a tweet detailing that they are finally implementing this Xbox reset and the restructuring that she mentioned in that blog post we got a couple of weeks ago. Now, it's a pretty long one, but we're going to go over it. There is some very interesting things in here. Also, there is some crazy stuff. This really puts a light into how Xbox was actually operating. So let's go over it. We are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decisions to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 2027. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today. This is July the 6th, so yesterday as I'm recording this. And in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it's not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. That is already crazy. I mean, this is not news. We've known that this is coming. The huge layoffs, they started like a week or 2 ago, and now they're going in full swing. 1,600 people are fired. So that's half of what they want to do. So by the end of fiscal year, they will have 3,200 layoffs. I know this is painful. This challenge is directly affect the people. No, today's decisions do not reflect the talent and dedication of these people. Of course, she's going to say that. Okay. Our business today is not healthy. You don't say. The understatement of the century. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10x lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. So I'm sure that she means Nintendo and PlayStation. We enter Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened, and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. Now, that's a big punch to Phil Spencer. This is crazy. So they opted for putting a lot of resources into Game Pass and multi-platform titles, okay? Because that didn't grow as they expected, they essentially bought more and more studios, hoping that some of them will be able to pay for the misses of the other ones, which is the multi-billion-dollar equivalent of trying to put out a fire with gasoline. Oh, we're not making enough money. Okay, we need to spend more money. That's how we got the insanely stupid Activision acquisition. Okay, first we'll reset our content portfolio. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios, as it's neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. And I believe that is actually a positive thing. Thank God they can't. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Now, that 64 cents, that is insane. Okay, now we're going into the specifics. Compulsion Games, as you know, the developers of South of Midnight, and Double Fine Productions, which are the developers of Psychonauts, will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP, catalog, and run away for their next games. That is actually good. We don't know if the developers actually paid Xbox something for going independent or they simply released them. We don't know the details. Okay, Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. Now, this is actually crazy. Because these cuts, these layoffs, this restructuring is so crazy, and apparently Asha wants it done as quickly as possible. Essentially, anything that is not a massive success on name alone, it's out the door. So apparently, this is not yet confirmed. So apparently, they are in talks with other studios or publishers that want to acquire them. In France, Arcane's management is beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. By the way, in case you're not, or in case you've been watching the news lately, Arcane Studios are the ones that are developing the Blade game. In development hell for so many years. I don't even know where it started. But again, recent rumors, that's probably again cancelled. But it has been cancelled before, so we don't know. Okay, moving on. We're also making reductions across other units and in some cases shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda/ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first-party, publicly announced games or projects are being cancelled as part of these reductions. Keyword, publicly announced. So, corporate speech, this essentially means there were a bunch of projects that are already cancelled. From all of these that they mentioned, King and Mojang, they're the money printers. Okay, King is it's Candy Crush, and Mojang is Minecraft. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest by monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. I don't like this part. Yes, like I said, Mojang and King, so Candy Crush and Minecraft, they bring a shit ton of money, so it makes sense. But I don't know. It smells like they're gonna double down on them. In not games, but platforms. King, of course, is a mobile game and makes insane amount of money. Minecraft, I smell new Minecraft projects in the near future. Trying to get more people, Roblox style. I don't know. I smell something from Minecraft. Second, we will reset our platform. Now, this is the big one. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of our company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. Let that sink in. 14 layers of management. That essentially means if you're someone with an idea, in order to get that idea approved, there are parts of the company where you would have to go through 14 people that could say no at any point in order to reach a decision. That is insane. And this right here, for the AAA side of the industry, their biggest, in my opinion, the biggest problem that they have is middle management. It takes forever to make a decision on something. When you have to, and listen, you need some, like maybe 1, 2, 3, because otherwise the CEO, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, the CEO simply can't look at every single thing that needs to be approved. You need at least some delegation of tasks. So you need some middle management. The company is way too big, but 14 layers is insane. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation. Another dig at Phil Spencer. Even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and that's a big one, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. So, when you have so many layers of management, who you blame when a game catastrophically flops? Because someone had the idea for the game, but you could argue, we always wonder where these games come from, who made the decision to make this thing. Like, for example, Horizon Hunters Gathering. If you ask pretty much any Horizon fan, they will tell you that they don't want this, that they want another single-player action-adventure game set in the Horizon universe. They don't want a cartoony, over-the-top, live service multiplayer game. Now, who makes this decision? Because let's say the game is not out yet, but for the sake of argument, let's say the game comes out, nobody plays it, it flops massively. Who do we blame? Because you could look at, okay, maybe the studio wanted it. With the studio, you could argue, okay, they tried to do something different if it was their idea. But no one else in between all those layers told them, okay, guys, this is not a good idea. Please just make what you're good at or make a completely different IP. In my opinion, you should most certainly blame some of the middle management for that. What if it's the middle management? Someone in between goes to Guerrilla and tells them, hey, you guys should make a live service multiplayer game. And they're like, what? Yeah, in the Horizon universe. And they'll be like, what? Yeah, you're going to make that. And then that one tells it to the CEO. The CEO thinks it's fantastic because it's going to make a shit ton of money. Of course it will. So if the game flops, who do you blame? The management could say, oh, it's because I thought they could do it. Oh, no, but my superior told me, or no one told me this was a bad idea, or something like that. It blurs the accountability, as Asha puts it. In this blurred thing, what ends up happening, when everything flops, the studio gets shut down, the developers get fired, and the management and the executives, they get bonuses. Because it wasn't their fault, apparently. And of course, not to mention the slow decisions that approval of projects can take years. Okay, moving on. We will reduce management layers to no more than 5, which sounds fine for a company of this size, and where possible 3. We'll deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals, VRIs, okay, who own key decisions and outcomes, and will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. I'm not sure what she means by this, 50% reduced vendor spend. That's over my head. I'm not really sure what she means. Okay, third, we are resetting how we operate. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. This is one of the big things Phil Spencer wanted to do, because he wanted Xbox as a, what's the word? Like a grassroots company. Like, okay, we're going to get a bunch of studios, big and small, and we're going to give them resources and money. So they go and they make their own projects, which sounds good in theory and could be a good way to do it, but you can't do it with everything. What I mean by this, it's good if you do it with smaller studios. We grab them, we let them do their thing, trusting that they're doing something that is good, even if it's not the greatest success in the world. If it can be done with a reasonable budget, we can keep making it until some of them make something big. But if you do that also with the biggest studios that you do, you run the risk of spending billions in projects that will make millions, which is what has happened to Xbox. You let them do the thing. You let Todd Howard do his thing. We got Elder Scrolls 6 announced 8 years ago, knowing full well no one was working on it. And we're likely not to see it for another 4 at the earliest. They're going to be kicking to overdrive to making that. But still, the only good, well-received and sort of successful thing they've done is the Oblivion remaster. Bethesda is a studio that I think works better under pressure. If you don't tell them, hey, you need to make this, and you don't give the deadlines, they're just gonna take 20 years to make a game. Okay, for the first time, we're establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Now, I don't fully understand this. Does this mean they didn't have a chief operating officer? Or that their chief operating officer didn't have as many responsibilities? Because this makes it out to sound we're going to make a COO that is going to have content, hardware, platform, and services all into one COO. Maybe is that what she means? Because I'd find it very hard to believe if they didn't have one. Helen Chiang has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of our most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring our businesses together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our success and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. You know what I mentioned about Minecraft? I cannot shake the feeling we're gonna make Minecraft like Roblox. Thank you, Dave McCarthy, who is retiring after 70 years with Xbox. Dave has been referring as a building a platform with millions of players. Oh, no. Dave McCarthy was the chief operating officer, so it's most likely that it was just some of this and not everything that was under his control, essentially. Okay, these changes are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. The next decade of gaming will be larger, more global, and more creative than anything we've seen before. This year, we'll invest as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we'll invest with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity. All the services of making Xbox where the world plays and create. Honestly, before we actually know if this works, it's going to take a couple of years. Now, this last one is hilarious. I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. I know we can achieve this goal. Xbox has many of the most beloved franchises in entertainment history, talented studios around the world, and we will return to growth in 2027. Did you read that? Did you hear that? I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day. 1 billion people. Not to disrespect Asha, but I don't think she knows how many people 1 billion is. So let's do a little test. And yes, we're going to use the AI overview for this. Fortnite averages roughly 30 million people daily, with about 650 million registered accounts. Okay? Roblox currently has roughly 132 million daily active users. Steam averages 69 million daily active users. Minecraft averages approximately close to 32 million daily active players. King, the developer of Candy Crush, averages between 57 to 113 million daily active players across all its supported platforms. And single-player games are not going to give you that. You see why I smell that Minecraft Roblox thing? Like, turn Minecraft into what Roblox is? A single platform with hundreds of games where people log into the platform itself? I smell that. I don't know. I can't get the feeling out of my head. Still, that's certainly ambitious. I don't think it's going to come even close to that amount of people. Unless something completely changes in the world, in the way we consume games. Either way, history is full of companies that mistake longevity for inevitability. We will not be one of them. Ain't that cute? Yeah, that is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy, everything that she's... Now, she also admitted that Game Pass failed to grow as Microsoft had expected, but apparently Microsoft thought that Xbox Game Pass would have 77 million subscribers by now, and it has now arguably managed to reach back to 30 million. Another thing, more details are emerging from Xbox's latest layoffs, with 2 of its biggest studios hit hard. This is not mentioned because she doesn't go over which where are the people coming from, but the reports say that ID Software, the developers of Doom, has lost most, if not all, of its programming team, and Doom the Dark Ages Revelations launches today, July the 7th. That is insane. Most, if not all, of its programming team. Because those are the people that know how to make the games. If they're gone, they take... I've mentioned this in other videos in the past. If they leave, they take all the knowledge with them. That's what you mean with generational knowledge. Those people could teach new people how to do things, how they do it. Not to mention that they do it themselves. But if they're gone, not only they cannot teach new people that you hire how to make the things that you do, they're going to teach someone else how you do the stuff. That's how we see studios like Rebel Wolves. Rebel Wolves is a studio made by a lot of former CD Projekt Red developers. Expedition 33 was made by former developers from Ubisoft. You're losing talent. Yes, Xbox needs the cuts, okay? They need it. But now you're losing knowledge that you're not going to get back, and it's going to go to other companies or make their own companies. At Obsidian Entertainment, around 60 to 70 developers were laid off across programming, design, art, QA, production, and writing, so essentially everything. Yes, Obsidian has not been... Listen, I have a lot of love for Obsidian Entertainment. I don't know how many developers remain from those glory days of Knights of the Old Republic, Fallout New Vegas. But again, you're losing people that know how to do shit that's just going to take that to another company. Hopefully they get another job and we can get new games from former developers. And finally, because I found this one completely hilarious, I'm just going to go over it. Former Halo 4 developer Dan Callan shared a story about meeting with former Xbox boss Don Matrick, because we never have to forget about Don Matrick, that still surprises him. According to Callan, Matrick wanted Halo 4 to copy Diablo 3's real money auction house by selling campaign mech skins for real money. Even though Diablo 3's system was already receiving backlash, it did from the very moment that game released, and was later removed by Blizzard. Looking back, Callan said, game execs remain stupid, detached, money-grabbing idiots. Adding that everyone in the room reacted with, "Yeah, good idea, sir," even though the developers knew it wasn't. You can't make this shit up. Man, I love Don Matrick. He has been an incredible amount of fun across the years. Xbox was in a good path from the 360 era. Don Matrick destroyed all that with the Xbox One, and the rest is history. I just found it incredibly hilarious, especially that game execs remain stupid, detached, money-grabbing idiots. Just keep it in mind. That should be your assumption when you're treating with an executive in a AAA gaming company. Assume that and let him prove you wrong. So yeah, that's it. That's what Xbox Bloodbath is going. A little bit of a break from Sony burning its own goodwill and destroying gaming. Man, this year is being awful. And we're only halfway through. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Is Xbox doing the correct thing? Doing everything, trying to do everything as quickly as possible? You know, ripping off the band-aid? Will this potentially work for them? And let me know, I'm curious, let me know what you think about that Minecraft idea. I can smell it. And they tried to turn it into Roblox, hopefully without the PDFs. But we'll see. Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, it really helps a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.